Welcome everybody to another episode of Mini Chats. Today we're going to be discussing about the importance of marriage in our society. To my left I've got Minnie and to my right I've got Keith and Nafi. We'll just dig in straight away. Keith, what's your take on this?
I think marriage is important because one, spiritually it has a sacredness. Physically, I think there's a lot of benefit that comes with it regarding financial benefits, social benefits regarding the government setting up benefit plans for persons who are married, military, and all that. So I think it has its place and it's still important. Regarding if people should get married, I think they should, but it should be for the right reasons. You know what I mean? It should not just be because one want to show off that, you know what, I'm married. But it should be for the reason that, you know, you want to settle with this individual and start a family, a stable family that will in turn benefit the society and help us from these all.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Because all these things that you just mentioned, the financial benefit, the social benefit, starting a family, you can still achieve all these things outside of marriage.
Of course you can, and I think you can achieve those things outside of marriage because back 20, 30 years back, people who were not married would not have some of the benefits that we're talking about now. The thing that happened is that when society started to change and started to accept common law relationship, where I'm from in Jamaica, in the 19th century, there was a prime minister by the name of Michael Manley. He went and declared that no bastard no death, which means that there's no bastard, which that changed the social development of the country drastically to where you start having the unwanted children start coming in, people having sex irresponsibly.
Before marriage.
So you realize that it does have it's sacredness and it's important. In this time we live in now, common law relationships has been accepted, and to the point now where laws have been passed where if a man and a woman is living together for over 5 years, then that woman is entitled to half of whatever that man possesses.
Hallelujah.
Which now kind of less signify marriage in a way. You get what I mean?
I'll come back to you on that. Minnie, what's your take?
Marriage, I don't know, to be honest with you, because with marriage I think it's important because obviously I was raised in the church and I go to church all the time. I read my scriptures and I know that God created Adam and Eve and he's like, the man will leave his home and cling to his wife. But I do agree with certain elements of what Keith was saying, that you can do a lot of these things now without marriage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can get the benefits of living in a common law relationship without the whole marriage element. You can raise children who are no longer classed as bastard, which was such a big deal back in the day. Yeah. And also back in the day, most people got married mainly because of financial benefits. So if you couldn't afford me, you couldn't even approach my parents to even try and marry me because there had to be some kind of benefit. You had to be able to take care of me or the person's daughter, etc. So now they can get all these benefits. Why is it so important? The only reason I might agree with it is because of the way I was brought up in the church, where you do need to do for sexual liberations and different things, you know what I mean? So you do get married because you're not supposed to have sex outside marriage. But as Keith said, if you're going to go and get married just for the sex part, is it really the most important part?
People don't get married just for the sex.
Some people do.
Some people do, but not everybody.
Not everybody.
Nafi, what's your take?
It's quite interesting actually. It depends because, for example, in the Western world, about 60% of the population are atheists and they don't attach a secular state. So they don't attach religious element to marriage, right? So in terms of getting married for sex, I think that it doesn't apply to certain to this society. But then I think with Christians or other religion who put importance on sex and marriage, I think that applies. If you know what I mean.
It's not that they put in. I mean, before the 70s, there was a time. Before the 70s, you couldn't even get divorced or you only get into marriage just for the sex, but you don't get into marriage just for the sex.
Yeah,
you get into marriage to raise family.
Society has changed and the importance of sex has changed. So it's no longer people are having sex regardless of getting married. You see, you are right in saying that before you had to engage or to consummate your marriage, you had to have sex. Yeah. So you had to be married, then consummate your marriage. That was the idea. Yeah. But now it's changed. So if society is changing, and then I feel like the idea of marriage is also changing. The values of marriage are changing. I think it's also down to the individual more than the pressures of society. I think that should be eliminated. I think it shouldn't be, for example, women's role has changed throughout society. We have more women in the workforce, women who are more ambitious. They don't aspire to marriage, and society shouldn't force women to aspire to marriage. Do you see what I mean? I think it has to come down to the individual and what you feel. For myself, I don't aspire to marriage. It's not something that I am I'm gagging for in my relationship, but I am in a long-term. I've been in a long-term relationship, but it's not something that I'm sort of pushing forward to. No, that's not what I'm doing.
But I assume that you want a family in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah, but you don't have to get married now to have a family. That's exactly what you're saying. You don't have to.
Because of my traditional views, I would like to get married. I think it benefits because of what I think, but I don't want society to force me or force my partner. I want that commitment to be sort of a mutual agreement between me and my partner rather than thinking of society. It has benefits for society, but I don't want to have society in my mind if I'm getting into commitment and formal commitment, if you know what I mean.
I mean, I agree with some of what you're saying, but I disagree with some of the things that you're saying. And I'll tell you why. If our society do not set moral standard and principles that govern the society, then we realize we have social issues that are coming from the unstable family structure in our society. And another thing is that I know you said about the society have changed over the years, which it has. And one of the reasons why society has changed over the years is because the more generation that comes is the less emphasis is placed on things that are important, like things like family bearing and the sacredness of sex, whether you are a Christian or not a Christian. The fact is that for too long we don't bring the seriousness and the consequences of sex and what can happen during that process and how the responsibility can be great. You get what I mean? So even though we have evolved as a society, we cannot evolve to the point where we are going down and not improving up. So you can move in the sense you have the family structure, and now in the 21st century we have a structure where majority of the homes in Britain is single parents. You know what I mean? So you move from where man and woman, father and mother was in the home, whether they were Christians or not. Now you have one parents in the home. So the daddy is over here and mother is here, or mother alone is here and daddy is nowhere to be found. So you realize that as much as how it changes, we need to come to a point where we're not changing for the worse, but for the better. So that's why. But
if the society is changing, there's nothing I as a person can actually do to actually make sure that society conform to my own view. Do you see? Things are gonna be moving from one place to the other. Do you see? Regardless of my personal view, whatever virtue or whatever value I'm attaching to marriage. Do you see?
But at the end of the day, our personal view, each of us personal view makes a difference. It's just like each vote makes a difference.
Of course.
So it boils down to the fact that okay, you sit here and you say that to me that so at the moment you sound as if you're helpless because your personal view will only do much. Yes, it will, and mine will only do much. But if four of us here unify our views together and on one moral principle, that listen, we will grow our children together as a unit, so that and let our children understand the principles that comes with their actions.
I get your point. And I will come to Minnie now. But if you with your family, you have your own value system, you have your own virtue that you actually working towards, and your children actually go outside and something else is being taught to them, something else is being given to them out there, how can you then control it? Because trust me, it's not everything they're going to be telling you. Yes, they can come home and do something else, but do you see, the media, the society itself, it's giving a lot of completely confusing, complicated ideas, and everybody is accepting something or the other. It seems like everybody is promoting its own self-identity and individual person, and everybody has an opinion. So that will actually sway or skew the learning of the children in one way or the other. I mean, where are you going here?
I wasn't going anywhere.
Because sorry to interrupt, but I also do agree with you, because you do find some families, some children who are raised just by single parents or single dads, and their morals are not swayed. So it also does depend on you as an individual raising a family. So raising your children. So you can find actually just two people who got married, but then they have completely warped views. And then they come and raise children that are warped. So at the end of the day, it comes down to the values that you have as an individual and you want to pass down to your generation. I think
but that was what
does not have to necessarily
that was
that.
the historical perspective on marriage. That was what it was when it was an institution, or the guy or the husband or the father is the God and the Lord. So it makes a law, it makes a rule, and they pass down tradition from one self to the other. Even though that has been, as you said, society has shifted.
But should society have shift? Should they have the right to shift that though? Because marriage is supposed to be a spiritual thing. It was created by God. So should we, like say for instance for myself, I say should I as a Christian allow society to weigh my views on that?
Anybody? Because there's nothing you can do.
There is something you can do. We can't just if you have religious views, we can't just be like, oh yeah, I can't do anything. Society is
no. I get that. I get that. But when church attendance have declined over the past many decades now, and even the church is not even enforcing the premarital sex, so there's nobody to even listen to it. Everybody just going out there to do whatever they want to. So in terms of, okay, I want to express myself, this is a avant-garde view, this is my view, or we're thinking radically this way, and before you know it, take cohabitation for example. How does it start? It sounds like, okay, we're just trying this out, or this is just a radical idea, just a plan from somebody. Then it becomes an acceptance. Okay, you start saying, okay, it's a testing ground for marriage. Do you see? And before you know it, it's very similar to marriage. And I think you've mentioned that before, because there's no at the moment the rights of being married and cohabiting. It's almost the same. Do you see? You get the same, and before you know it, it will then morph into, you can't even distinguish between cohabitation and marriage anymore. But we will go on a short break, and we'll be coming back very soon. Join us, we'll be coming back very soon and we'll continue this discussion.
We're not saying that people should live more to more. I believe that if one is in a committed relationship, relationship or marriage, what each person needs to put themselves in a secure position financially. You get what I mean? When both of you come together as one, within that union, whether it be marriage or relationship or common law relationship, it only strengthens the force to face the challenges that come, maybe buying a house.
Marriage is not as relevant because people are choosing to cohabitate because it's not as financial constraining as cohabitating.
You can just decide, actually this is not for me, and leave. Whereas when you have that contract and you know that this is you took this before God and before your friends, I just feel like you're more willing to work at a bit longer or prolong it compared to that one.
Welcome back everybody to Minnie Chats. We've been discussing about importance of marriage in our society today. I mean, there are different points of view coming here. I mean, Nafi doesn't want society's good control to make decision in terms of marriage. Kitty doesn't. Marriage is important regardless of your religion. And
well, he's married. He has no choice. Sorry.
And Minnie, right, we'll start off with you, Minnie.
Why are you starting off?
Cohabitation. That was where we were before. We were talking. What's that?
Sorry.
Cohabitation. What's your view on that? I mean, because I'm asking that because at the moment cohabitation and marriage they seems very similar. They have similar components. They have similar rights.
I think society is making it seems like it has similar everything, but however,
it is similar.
It seems that way because technically, marriage was created for Christians, for those who believe in God. The original beginnings of why marriage was created was for a man and a woman. If you then move into a house and it's a contract, it's a legal contract between you and your partner.
Yeah.
If you then decide to cohabit and do whatever else you're doing it, I don't believe or I don't think it should be then called marriage. You can call it whatever else you want to call it, but it's not. It's supposed to be a godly thing, not a society thing. That's my take on it.
But from the past ages, it was a society thing because marriage was more or less an economic transaction.
It was. It was.
Status.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So people marry into rich families.
Definitely.
Because of wealth. It was never so much so as religion. Religion played a small role. Status more than anything, finances more than anything, and this is applicable even today. People do marry because of financial security, not so much emotional security. So that's why I still maintain my stance that I like it to be individual. So whether it's you as a declaration of love, declaration of commitment, rather than you, and if it is for your financial reasons, that's your reason, you're allowed to do that. But I don't like the pressure though. Women. I think I'm also focused more on how women are forced to or pressured to aspire to marriage, and I think that's where my view comes from. That's where I'm.
But since post 70s, that has not been the case anymore.
It's still the case because it's always been the case. Like the woman's clock is running out, or this and that. It's still the case.
But if that's the case, one other thing that you touch on the physical part of it. Now let's touch the physical part. Marriage, the wholesome marriage has different benefits to it. It has financial benefits to it, it has emotional benefits, it has sexual benefits. So, but
those benefits, I get, the financial benefits that you speak of, it's not as important as it was back in the day because women are earning their own money, they're working, they are achieving greater things. So it's not that much of a big deal.
That's what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that as a people, sometimes we highlight the most the one that is driven marriage in now. Like from now, maybe it would be more of in our time now, people would say it would be more of emotional stability for people to get married, not more so financially. But it depends on the individual, right? But it go back to what we're saying that regarding the reason why one should stay there. As you were talking about the cohabiting, I think that people who cohabit or people who maybe have sex before marriage. Personally, I think that it's boiled down to the relationship, and this is from a religious point of view now. It boiled down to the relationship that they have with the sovereign God that they worship. Because if I serve a God who said that he has the best for me, then why can't I trust him enough?
But in a society whereby the cost of living is high up there, you can't even afford a house at this moment without, you need a joint two people to actually get on the how can you then justify that? You can't just be living from mouth to mouth.
No. We're not saying that people should live mouth to mouth. I believe that if one is in a committed relationship, relationship or marriage, what each person need to put themselves in a secure position financially. You get what I mean? When both of you come together as one, within that union, whether it be marriage or relationship or common law relationship, it only strengthens the force to face the challenges that come. Maybe buying a house, getting a mortgage, whatever it is. But if one person think that for instance, most of the time you hear the man make sure that the man is financially secure, make sure that the man has a house, make sure the man have a car. Then you check what should the lady have. oh, she should maybe she should just make sure that she look good and she can carry a child. You get what I mean? So the feedback that comes.
No, but there are many ladies today who actually they put career above marriage. So marriage is something.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm coming back to that. You know, back then, before maybe about 10 years ago, that was still significant. Where you talk to a female, she'll be telling you that, okay, the man I want to marry to, the man I want to date or be in a relationship with, he has to be employed, which is fine. He has to have a car, maybe own a house, and so the same is that they list for the
there's
nothing wrong with those.
Okay.
Both women within the workforce and some who are not working. But what I'm saying is this: the same principles that you want the man to possess is the same principles that you as the woman or the other partner should also possess.
I don't agree with that, because technically, no, I don't agree with that. If the man wants to then take, because I'm taking it from a spiritual point of view, you'd go to the woman's house, you pull her out of her mother's house, and you decide to take her to your own house. If you can't look after that woman, do not go to the parents' house. You have no right to go there. You have to be able to look after her. If you can't meet her basic needs, why are you there in the first place?
But we're not talking about the basic needs here, because some of these women, when you speak to them, you're talking about basic needs. I understand the traditional
No, but in today's society, having a car, depending where you live, it is a basic need.
No. That's not basic needs. Is for me. Is a roof over your family.
Yeah, but she asked for a house.
But that's fine. That's what I'm saying. So a roof over your family head. Make sure that there's food and electric, gas and electric. Food is in the house, clothing and all that. Everything else comes secondary. A car is you can do without a car. Other things that are not essential.
But that's the thing. But hold
on. If the man meet the essential needs, why put pressure on the same man to meet the secondary things?
No. If you know, this is my take on it. I'm not saying that it's right or whatever, but if you know you met me and I'm on this kind of level, and you know you can't meet that level in terms of I drive a Lamborghini, I want a Lamborghini, I want this, I want that. How dare you then ask me to bring down my standards because you can't meet those needs? Don't come to my house in the first place.
No, we're not asking.
So this is I think the way you're looking at it is, you meet somebody, you get into a relationship. From the onset, you know each other's financial situation, right? So when you do decide to get married, I think you have reached a consensus. You have come to an agreement. If you know you can't afford, people would still want to live together, cohabitate, and that's how cohabitate comes about, because maybe there's that financial inequality or financial imbalance or whatever, right? In today's economic state, I think that's why I would argue that marriage is not as relevant, because people are choosing to cohabitate because it's not as financial constraining as cohabitating, right? The responsibility that you bear in a marriage and financially, most people would not want to commit to that. Would rather cohabitate.
But cohabitate, you see, and this is where the other country come into play. A lot of the changes that we have in our country is because of the laws, and the laws of the country have also been different and changed. So if the different groups that are out there that give people options of helping them to be financially secure and getting things done easier, then we wouldn't have a problem where people are cohabitating. And then in that cohabitating,
why is that necessarily a problem?
Hold on. And in that cohabitating, you realize that both persons now become sexually active, and then in that sexually active activity, a child is born.
Yeah, but why is that such a big issue?
Why is that
it's a big issue. One thing why it's a big issue. It's a big issue spiritually, because you realize that now a child is in the play. Both parents are not committed to each other the way that they are.
But they are. No. They are. Sorry, nothing.
Cohabitating, you living with somebody, that means you're committed to that person. You have not put a formal commitment. That means going to church, signing papers, but you are committed to one another. Right? You can live for 20 years, 30 years, whatever years with that person and raise a child with that agreement, and that is happening today. The fact that you sign a paper, The fact that you sign a paper and make a fall of it does not necessarily mean that your views will change. So that's why sometimes the stigma as well can mess with you psychologically when you get divorced, whether it's a woman, whether it's a man, right? So I don't see that cohabitating as a problem. For me, I see that it's marriage should not be it should not have that much importance.
I mean, from a religious perspective, marriage is important. From society and how society view it. And the reason why I will stick to the point that the reason why we're having the problem we have now, because a lot of times we accept these things in our society, right? And then people realize people are out there, they're doing these things, and then they might get the financial stability that they're looking for, and they get the what they call it, also physical stability, financial stability, but emotionally, that child that comes out from you cohabitating with each other, in living in the same roof, same house, and then having likeness and feelings for each other, then leading to other things, bring forth a child. When you decide that you no longer want to be committed to that man or that woman, then you're not breaking a home, right? Because what is not going to live together
you
anymore?
Can do that even
when you're married, it's the same situation.
Is it more difficult?
I feel like
Isn't
it's
it more
even
difficult?
worse. Okay, go on, sorry.
No. Isn't it even more difficult when it makes it more difficult when you're married, but with the cohabitation, even though there is no paper, whatever, it's easier to break the promise and say, okay, or renegotiate the terms and condition of the cohabiting.
Yeah.
Why?
No.
Easier.
No. That's what
saying
I'm with you here.
easier.
It's much easier when you're cohabitating, yeah? The terms and condition of that for your initial agreement could be broken easily. But with marriage, this is a public declaration. Do you see? There is a sort of an enforced trust. Do you see? So you make it, you kind of are accountable to each other.
There are disadvantages of also because you're saying it's difficult, and because of those difficulties result in resentment, domestic abuse, struggles within marriage, and then you raise an unhealthy child, right? Because you can't come out of that marriage, you're forced to stay together, then you are bickering, fighting, having whatever, and you raise that a child grows up in an unhappy home. Whereas if you're cohabitating, but then if you come to mutual agreement that we're not working together, but let's raise this child.
But it's not always the case.
It happens.
It happens. It's not
always
always the case.
That can happen
Yeah.
more than when you are married. Right?
But
So if you don't want to be committed to that person, but then you're forced because of societal influences to stay with that person.
You're not forced by society.
The only thing, in terms of marriage, the only thing I think though is that with marriage, at least when you have the legal contract, I do understand that you can have the resentment and domestic abuse, and then you still want to stay because of that agreement that you've made, for better or for worse. But I do feel when you do that legal agreement, you're more eager to actually try to make it work, compared to when you're a
cohabiting.
Thank you, I couldn't even get the words out. You can just decide, actually this is not for me, and leave. Whereas when you have that contract and you know that this is you took this before God and before your friends, I just feel like you're more willing to work out a bit longer or prolong it compared to that one.
Cohabiting.
Thank you.
So okay, cohabiting from the scripture. I know we've talked about the legality of it, and it's a contract. It's a binding contract, which it can be easily broken. So what do you think about the covenant aspect of marriage from the Christian perspective?
I do feel it's very, very important.
Do you think even you are in a Christian marriage and you're facing abuse, but because
I will leave.
Oh, okay.
So you're not willing to work it
No, not like that. I'm willing to work it out. But even, I don't know if everyone's have seen the last episode of One Off Slap or One Off Cheat. I will not tolerate or sit there and let anyone put their hands on me. If you love me, your hand should never be raised. We can sit and communicate. I will try and work it out once. No. I will try and work it out once. Whereas with cohabiting, blah, 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 you might just leave. But with marriage, because I've taken that vow, I will try and work it out. I will get counsel. We will speak it out, whatever. Those are the requirements. We will talk about it. But we'll not sit there and let somebody beat me, and I sit there because I say, oh yeah, I took a vow before God. That is not what God saw in marriage. So I would not stay. Sorry.
Any conclusion?
Well, I think my concluding remarks with regards to whether marriage is important or relevant in today's society, it has its benefits in today's society, but I think the sanctity of marriage has been lost, and I don't think people look at marriage the same way they used to do. They used to in the past. I also feel like society should not put pressure for people to get married. I think it's up to the individual.
My point is that I think as a society we need to get back to the core principles of growing a family, and I said before, whether that being that you're married or legally or you're in a common law relationship, we just need to get to the point where our raising family is very important, and how we go about that, and get back to the days where it's not just about getting it for the benefits, but it's about the sacredness of it, whether it be from a Christian perspective or from
viewers, thank you today. I mean, you've had so many discussion. I mean, there's been lots of different points of view today. But what I would just say to you, or what we'd like to say to you today is, whatever it is you're trying to do, I think society today is in a bit of flux. There are many different views, many different opinions, many different value system. I mean, you need to choose what is best for you, what you want for your own family life. I mean, you can take so many positives from the old way, the historical values of marriage up until today. You don't need a society to actually put any pressure on you, and just know your own value system, know what you want in the future, or what you want if you want to raise a family, what you want your family to be like, the picture of that, and then follow with it. So there's so many things out there today which are we're not gonna go into that today. Join us for our next episode, and thank you very much for watching.